to get a letter from us to discuss the budget. Because the city budget, the mayor works on the city budget and comes out with it in March, but they're collecting public comment and comments from the staff and the city and everybody for the previous months. And this is a time to get information into the budget rather than responding to a budget that the mayor has and just saying it's a nice budget or we recommend a tweak here or something like that. You can get items in it at the beginning. And they don't have to be line items with how much money or anything, it's just kind of placeholders. These things are important to us. And so I asked my District 6 group to submit comments, and I got 3, 4, 5, 6 comments in from different people, and I've collected them together. I don't know if the rest of you got a chance to do it or not, but I'm not sure if we can take an action item on this thing since it did not say we're going to write a letter. So, worst gets to worst, I'll write my own personal letter saying I heard in District 6 these items, but I circulate, I gave you a copy, I got a copy on the list here.
Question.
Yes.
Staff sent a request on your behalf as
Yes.
chair out to all commissioners
Yes.
to respond with input, comments, suggestions to neighborhood staff
Yes.
or to commission staff. Question is, do they have anything to report back from what was reported in?
You got the handout.
Okay, thank you.
So,
With the meeting, I haven't had a chance to read it.
okay, so there's the letter that I circulated to D6, and I got comments from you, David. I saw the response that Pete Kolstad had. I added a few sentences to my letter to add that. And then those are the only, oh, I didn't see this one from you. That's new, okay. Okay, I've not read that one yet, so, let me, so can we send a letter out? First off, Ernest, since the agenda did not have action item on it, can we do it?
I'm not sure. Who are you sending the letter out to?
Mayor, city council, saying, we would
Saying
like,
what?
that based on our conversations and with our residents, we feel the following things are important and would like to have considered when you work on the budget, to continue the mayor's gang task force, to continue to keep the libraries open, to expand the community service officer program, to add park rangers. I've been specifically hearing from the community that they want to tell the mayor to include adding more park rangers because the Parks Department is going to request it. And it's going to be having feedback from the community saying they want the park rangers program improved. Would be very helpful to have a letter from us helping the Parks Department get the park rangers to keep the parks open.
The responses we got back were compiled as
requested, and that's what this letter stack is.
Right, there was, I think, one additional one. Is that the one that?
Parish? No.
Yeah, that was it. That's it. That's all that came in today. From all the commissioners that this went out to, they went out to all the commissioners. So I guess my question is this reflective of what the commissioners, all of the commissioners have had a chance to go ahead and talk to their particular groups? Because if you're sending a letter out saying this is, you know, something on behalf of the commission, and you only get less than a third of the commissioners responding, having talked to anybody, then where are the rest of the commissioners? Then have they talked to anybody? Are they planning on talking to anybody? Because part of what the process is really the whole budget process kicks off with the February 20th mayor's priority setting session, which is in a week and a half. After that, then it opens up to the rest of the discussions that will be occurring throughout the city departments as well as throughout the community. So I understand the desire to get something out, but if you send a letter that says it reflects the feeling of the commission, but you've only got less than a third of the commissioners responding, is that really reflective of the commission? That's my first point. I think that you've got plenty of other time to gather the rest of the information from people who had a chance to go back out or not because part of the duty and responsibility of the commissioners is to interface with the variety of groups they represent and come back to you as a commission and say, this is what is reflected in our discussions with our groups. That's what's supposed to be happening. And I emphasize that because if someone was asked, the commissioner, this is the consensus of the commission, but you've only got less than a third that are reflected back. I'm not sure if that reflects the commission as a whole. So that's my first point. Secondly, I could check with the attorney about whether or not a letter would be appropriate to go out effective this evening based on what you have. You might be able to get it out, but I'm curious. Didn't hear from anybody else. Does that mean that nobody else had a chance to talk to their particular constituencies yet?
So to respond to some of the questions, I asked staff to send to everybody a request to get suggestions. They could not be sent to me because of Brown Act, so they were all sent to staff. They were posted on the website about 2 days ago. So it was buried. It was hidden as one of the, it was one of the line items on the web page. If you went to the web page, I think on Monday they added one extra line to it to include this. It was not very much long lead time, in part because I was late getting my letter in, and some of the other people were late getting their letters in. There was a lot of information to collect that I got letters from a lot of different people. I mean, several people called me up and talked about the trees. This wasn't my item. I heard 2 different people talk specifically about the trees, and that's why I put that line item in there. Like I said, this is a chance to plant a seed of an idea rather than responding to it after it's over with. So, David.
Since it's 9:10 and
there's more items on the agenda.
I understand, but my point here is, would it be appropriate for this to be sent, now that it's been sent to all of the commissioners, for all the commissioners to meet with their neighborhood leadership group and neighborhood associations, basically share this with them and say, please give us your feedback by prioritizing these as your most important ones, and that will take a broader reflection of what the city neighborhoods want, rather than a portion of ourselves and the people we represent being here. So send this back out. It's going to be a two-way communication.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe the best thing would be for me to write my own personal letter, and I encourage you all to...
Before the letter's written, we take this list and send it out, that all the commissioners share this list with the neighborhoods and say, how do you feel about this? What's most important to you? And then report that back to staff and in turn to you to put it into a draft form.
Because I wanted to get this thing out next week.
I don't know how to do that, unless we're just free to do it.
I'm sorry, when did we receive this request?
It was mailed out 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago?
No,
2
Monday
weeks ago?
last week.
Monday last week, a week ago Monday.
I'll have to look through my emails. I mean, I have been taking input and I have been, circling my neighborhood, getting input. So I'm glad to provide it, and you can give me another day to do it.
Okay.
I'll come up with my own list because I have been listening and collecting rather than talking. So I'm happy to share that, and I'll have to look through my emails, make sure I got it.
We can resend it out again,
Yes.
and this is one of the check-ins that I wanted to have, was that because we didn't get as many responses regardless of whether or not you had a chance to go out, or even given your own personal, ideas. We just got less than a third of the commissioners responding, and I think, it's one of these things. I think it's a great idea. I think it's been talked about in the past to do something early on and proactive, but I think that it's good to gather the ideas, as Commissioner Dearborn says, and maybe farm it out to the various groups, and then get a response and agendize it for an actual letter formation at your March meeting, which is still in the middle, way early in the process.
The mayor
Anyway,
already will have his budget letter out by then, won't he?
I'm sorry, what now?
Won't the mayor have his budget letter out in March?
Whether the mayor has his budget letter out or not, I mean, the reality is you're not just dealing with the mayor, you're dealing with the mayor and the council members. And the city manager has to respond later on to the mayor's budget message. So, you know, you're always trying to figure out when's the best time to make your recommendation, even if they're preliminary. My point is that, that if you're trying, well, once again, let me go back because I didn't see an answer. First of all, how many of you got this? How many of you got the email saying, please give us your suggestions? Okay, so, and if you didn't, then that's important for us to know because we need to double check your emails. Because otherwise you didn't get it.
I may literally have gotten it, but I'm currently in the process of a job search, so
Okay.
I'm getting hundreds of emails every day, and my mailbox is frequently overrun.
So what we'll do is make sure that we are, make sure that you got it so you can respond to it. Secondly, how many of you had a chance to go back to your constituencies and say, hey, we got this, you know, what do you think?
I emailed.
That's it.
I emailed my District 6 leadership group, and I got responses back, and I got phone calls,
Yeah.
and I got emails, and I folded them together here, and
Yeah, I understand it. We compiled it, you know, we got Mr. Goldstead's comments, we got Commissioner Dearborn's comments, we got, so, you know, I can tell you off the top of my hand which ones we got. I can also say which ones we didn't. That's why it's important to have a canvas of who didn't get it, because I think that, you know, I mean, we even included yours was the latest one to come in, because I wanted to be fair about, we'll wait to the last second to make sure we grab as many as we can. But we still didn't capture all the commissioners, and I think that's not a fair process when you don't have as many people putting in their input, because this commission represents the neighborhoods. If you only have less than a third of the neighborhoods, even though you may get a great response, the reality is we're not getting D5, we're not getting D7, we're not getting, you know, whole sections of the city that aren't contributing to the budget preliminary message. So, Chair, you can send your own recommendation based upon what you have under your own signature without saying you're the chair.
can I get with Dave and the two of us and saying for District 6, we have to outreach and have these things? Would you want to do one jointly?
Well, I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Is it, we talk in terms of a letter to the council or a letter to the mayor. Is it reasonable to just informally send to staff, which becomes a public record, that thus far, still in process, this is a preliminary look from neighborhoods, and we are looking to reach deeper into neighborhoods with further two-way communication to finalize this quarter budget letter?
Or you could do that, but I'd do it even, I mean, then we're gonna be very specific. These are responses of G6.
Yeah, then like that.
Do you have to say that? This is preliminary.
Right, and that's not reflective under a commission,
Yeah.
you know, because it just really is talking about one or two council districts. I mean, part of what this group needs to represent is the whole city, not just simply say, you know, D6's first answer to this is this or that, you know, because then why am I sending it to D7 and D5 and D2?
Okay, so the question about the trees in the park was actually from a citywide park advocates meeting, and so I don't know what district that person came from, Alan.
Well, anyway,
Ernest, I'm a little kind of unclear on the impact of this. We've got the budget thing coming up on the 20th, I guess it's a Saturday.
it's the mayor's
Yeah.
preliminary,
And
yeah.
then we have, I thought I heard you say there'll be some district budget meetings.
Those always happen in probably the month of May. There'll be-
Okay,
Each
so-
one of the council districts will have one.
I'm kind of where the impact of this, what we're doing here, fits in. Where it's gonna have, where it's gonna be meaningful, I guess, is where I'm coming from.
I think what the chair is trying to drive the commission to do, and rightfully so, is to be part of the preliminary discussion on what the priorities ought to be going into forming the mayor's preliminary, here's my budget message.
Okay, so, but when does that impact? Because that gets to be when I can go back to my.
Yeah, that'll be sometime in March.
Oh, so, okay, so we got March.
So just like Pete wanted a line saying, you wanted to have an item saying illegal dumping was a concern, and you wanted a placeholder. This is that placeholder.
No, I'm just trying to get that time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if we had another month or so, that's what I'm trying to.
Right,
Yeah,
we don't, okay.
I would move that we basically use the process that David described, where we are free to use this as input, seek further input from the neighborhoods, because some of us haven't been able to reach them yet, and then bring this back at the March meeting for, to really hammer out the letter right there, to come from the commission as a whole. I think that will have increased impact, so that's my motion, if there's a second.
I second.
So discussion, I can see us writing a letter in response to the mayor's budget. That's what we do in April or May. And I was trying to get a second letter as an early shot. I don't see a letter in March having any significance.
Well, as Ernest stated, it goes to the entire council, and the entire council does a lot of shaping of what occurs after the mayor's original budget letter.
Okay, but then would we want to wait till after we heard from our district community outreach meetings then, which are in May?
The problem with those is they get scheduled over a very long period of time, and we have had outreach meetings that were very near the end of the process. So we get less influence into the council members by then.
And I think, for your May meetings, you'd want to have, here's what we've already heard. They need to have an outline. They need to know what other people are thinking around the city. Otherwise, those May meetings become, everybody's got 400 ideas that you come up with instead of narrowing it down. So, I'm in favor of waiting till March and making sure that all of us have gotten input or as much as we can from our neighborhoods.
Okay, other discussion? I think it's more important to be now, so maybe I'll write my own personal letter and that too. So,
Your personal letter can reflect the work done to date and what we're about to do.
So I encourage, so let's see, there's a motion to send this information out to your districts and come back and write a letter, discuss it in March.
Correct.
Okay, call the question, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay, looks like it's passing. And May? I guess we'll get information then.
Was this, website, is this available?
This was on the city's website. Is Pamela's letter on the website?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we will,
At the last moment.
so we'll discuss it, send this out, and discuss in March.
We can certainly hold on to the copies we have right now.
Yeah. And nonetheless, I can write my letter as an individual, okay? Let's see, because I want to get that thing about the trees in the parks. I mean, that was very important to get, and the park rangers, that was important to get out there.
Could I, tell me if this is out of order, so it's 9:20.
I'm kind of rushed.
I understand you are, but I wanted to go back to the thing about putting time on the agenda. Some way to manage our time better, to be more succinct in our comments. I will try to be succinct. Perhaps to have only one speaker or no speakers from the city. I love the commission. I can't plan around no planning. So just ask that we please explore the idea of adding times and then keeping the meetings to end at 9 o'clock.
I'm trying to get people to walk fast. Yes, I appreciate, yes. Standing reports, the chair. See, I was going to say.
Excuse me, Larry, before we get out of this item, we deferred the authorization of the letter on the dumping.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what?
Looking, I made a motion earlier and when we were talking about illegal dumping.
Yeah, so that'll be discussed in March then.
Well, it's too late. We need a letter now to get to the mayor before he sets the March budget message to talk about that we, in
So-
general, support the idea of illegal dumping, and we'll get you details later, but raise the issue now. That's my request.
You're making a motion,
Making a motion.
okay, and is there a second to?
Second.
Okay, so discussion, it'll be a short, so,
I put a draft in one of the papers I handed out today.
I guess I have not read that, I'm sorry.
Illegal dumping was the #1 vote getter for this year's Neighborhoods Commission work plan. We have received a report from DOT, et cetera, and feel they are on the right track. We hope that you and the council can find the funding needed to implement the full effort and expand their existing programs. The commission will request specific funding amounts as we learn more and the budget process evolves. For now, we ask that you understand that this is a big priority for the neighborhoods and loosely plan for some additional investment out of the general fund. Very straightforward.
Discussion, do you want to have a letter, this is authorizing the chair to write that letter on letterhead?
Yes.
And send on behalf of the city. You don't want to include some of the other items about park rangers and?
No.
Just that?
Yeah, this was a separate issue.
So just clarification, that would be the letter that came from the commission on the topic of budget?
That would be the only thing that would come from the commission in February on the budget. Then in March, we'll have whatever you get from this. He wants one now, like I was saying, it's important to get items in the discussion in February. So he's specifically asking for illegal dumping. I was specifically asking for park rangers at the request of several people. I was specifically asking for 2 or 3 other items. But he's asking that the commission write one saying specifically illegal dumping. I was trying to get a letter.
I understand.
But I'm gonna write my own letter saying park rangers.
Illegal dumping was on the work plan. As he said, it was one of the highest requested on the work plan.
And I have no problem doing it.
It was agendized on the work plan, and a simple note like that as a response to the work that we put in listening and responding isn't highly specific, but it does set the tone for how the commission feels about it, and it goes no further than that.
Okay. Call the question, all in favor?
No.
All, what?
I guess I'm opposed, but that would be the only communication on the budget from this commission?
No.
February.
In February.
Just February. March is when.
In March, we'll write a letter with some other items after they've already set the priorities. And then-
Then why don't we send, okay. I'm opposed, but okay.
Okay, moving on.
We'll move on.
Chair's report.
Moving on.
Pass.
I'm not making notes here, so.
Andreas. I guess.
Just because we can't get 5 gallons in a 1-pint jar.
Okay.
But we have to do something.
Okay, so I will get your wording, I'll put it on the letterhead, I'll print it up, and I'll bring it, do I just email it straight to the mayor and city council, or do you want me to bring it by city hall, or how do you want to do this?
Oh, I need to see a copy of it.
You have the wording that you just heard.
I don't care, I need to see a copy of it.
Okay, I have the electronic version of it, I'll put it on the letterhead, I'll bring it by your
Yeah.
office tomorrow, I guess, next day sometime.
I should stop
Um, Chair